This isn't Madonna, and I love listening to Time to Talk.
Well, hello, how are you? Thanks for meeting me here. The fortress is being cleaned today, so I just need a couple of hours, so I thought we'll just meet out here at this coffee shop and, start having a little conversation here. We can go into the fortress later. Igor is almost done with the broom. He's just putting the finishing touches. I only like taking people in there when it's, just so. So listen, I went to a Madonna tribute show last night, and wow, does it make you appreciate the talent of the real deal. This woman had nothing of Madonna's, I don't know, what do we call it, razzmatazz. Her only redeeming quality, a fairly passable voice, although it didn't sound anything like Madonna, and she didn't know how to use the mic. So if you can imagine the high notes of Ray of Light, with the mouth literally touching the mic, absolutely ear-piercing. It really wasn't pleasant. This impersonator of Madonna, she didn't swear. She didn't hump. She didn't spit. She didn't spray pussy juice all over the front row. It just made you realise that it really does take more than a strategically placed stocking in your hair to convince people that you are the real deal. Oh, and by the way, this Madonna didn't dance while she sang. Yeah, you heard that right. This Madonna didn't dance while she sang. She moved, but she didn't dance. Hello? There was nothing synchronised. She had a Donna Delore and a Nikki Harris, although they didn't sing, they only danced. It was very discombobulating. So I've been asking a few Madonna fans this week if they've listened to the Tension album, Kylie's Tension album, and are you surprised to learn that the vast majority of Madonna fans simply said, no? What's that about, do you think? I mean, if you love Madonna, surely you love great pop music. Why aren't you listening to Tension if you're a Madonna fan? Let's be honest, let's call this exactly what it is. It's jealousy. The hardcore Madonna fans don't want to acknowledge that it's possible for a woman of a certain age to still be absolutely leading the way in the pop world, still producing modern pop hits. And that jealousy is to the extent where they won't even put Tension on and give it a listen, even if it's just so that they can criticise it. Come on, guys. If you're a Madonna fan, you've got to listen to Tension and tell us what you think. You can tell me. I don't mind if you don't like it. Don't be one of these Madonna fans with your head in the sand, waiting year after year for her to produce that piece of music that you think is going to come your way eventually if you wait long enough and if you wish hard enough. Madonna is fantastic, but if you love pop music, you'll love Tension. But if you don't listen to it, I guess it's your loss. It's an incredible album. It's certainly joined my top 5. I'd be interested to know, has it joined your top 5 Kylie albums? It hasn't certainly dethroned Rhythm of Love for me, or Light Years. And if I was to try to compare it to something in her back catalogue, I think Tension is most closely related to Golden and Fever. And who would have thought that those two sounds could be fused together in one album and work? But that's what's happened here. Now listen, not everyone likes it. Mark, from Sydney, Australia.
Hi Tim, friend of your show Mark here. I was hoping to join in your discussion on Tension, but I have to work tomorrow, or today, whichever day you're hearing this. Anyway, my thoughts on Tension. This is the most indifferent to a Kylie album I have ever been upon its release. I'm a huge fan and I have passionately loved many albums and also passionately despised some albums on release as well. Body Language, X, Kiss Me Once. I feel Tension is about Kylie solidifying brand identity. The lyric, "Call me Kylie, don't imitate," is very telling about what this album's aim, or the era's aim, is all about. But the album Tension, I feel like it's the most calculated brand Kylie album that she has ever released. And I respect what she's doing and the importance of this era in the context of following up Fever 20-ish years later, and what it means for the future of her business. But as a fan and as an album, for me, I'm not connecting with it. Sorry.
Thanks, Mark, and g'day as always. Indifference, my friend, is in some ways even less complimentary than hate. I hope it grows on you, Mark, my friend. And I want to know what you're thinking of the album. Take out that voice recorder and give me a minute or so, just like Mark did. Let me know what you're thinking of Tension, or any other topic for that matter, and email it to the email address, the very special email address, timetotalkaustralia@outlook.com. timetotalkaustralia@outlook.com. Now, what will single number 3 be? It seems Hold On To Now and Vegas High are the prime contenders, but either way, I'm telling you what, there is already a healthy budget for another epic video, because she is killing it at the moment. The rumour is, however, that the video has actually already been shot. And when does she start in Vegas, by the way? When's that happening? I have a feeling it's early November, somewhere around there. So if that's the case, maybe we could expect the new single in October, or around mid-October, so that it guns it, like they coincide everything just perfectly. Either way, hopefully you're like me and you're not in a rush, you're just absorbing what's happening at the moment. Kylie is bloody on fire. I honestly always knew she'd have another third coming, if you want to call it that, but this one's different. It's commercially unbelievable, like Fever, like a meteor, but have you noticed there's something extra about this one? Like respect, true respect, which is where, to come full circle, those Madonna fans have the jealousy, because Madonna doesn't have that. I love Madonna, and I hope she produces fantastic new music in the future, and I hope she kills it on her celebration tour. But this brand of respect that Kylie has, this quiet dignity thing, oh wow, it's the envy. I can't think of any other current pop celebrity who has it, but she's certainly walking the lines of people like Jane Fonda, the old Hollywood stars who've earned their stripes. That's it. I've just nailed it. That's what I'm feeling. The world finds her new and contemporary, but at the same time, there's this honour for the fact that she's earned her stripes. Who can tell me a bit more about this conversation with Kylie Minogue? I think it's at the Grammy Museum in Los Angeles. Is it kind of like an audience with Kylie, US style? Someone let me know about that. I'd love to know a bit more about the conversation with Kylie. It's in October, apparently. And talking of Vegas tickets, they're rare as hen's teeth, as you know, and some fans are making a special plea to you. Here's Rudy.
Hi everyone, my name is Rudy Palma. I live just outside New York City, and I've been on the podcast before. My best friend and I, Ronnie, we've bonded over our love of Kylie for, almost 13 years by now. And we both tried for over 5 hours each day to get tickets for Vegas, for any show, and we're unsuccessful. And spontaneity is not really baked very well into our lives because he's a pre-K teacher and I'm a social worker. So we can't just hop on a plane one day before and do this like some people seem to be able to do. So if anyone has any extra seats on any day, We are willing to rearrange our schedule in order to join you. In fact, someone offered us seats at his table and then vanished. I've been ghosted by men before, but not over Kylie tickets. So we are desperate. Rudy Palma, RUDYPALMA @yahoo.com. Oh, we hope someone has an extra pair of tickets. Thank you very much.
Good luck with that, Rudy. It's lovely to hear your voice. Now, look, some of you have asked for more from me about the saga of my iPhone that we started in the last podcast. Even more of you have asked me to stop talking about it, but that just provokes me, quite frankly. So I'll just let you know this. I'm still stuck with an unused iPhone 15 Pro 128 gigabytes, which I'm still trying to sell. Unused, barely touched, 150 less than retail, but do you think I can sell it? I've had like dozens of inquiries, but maybe I just don't have that knack of negotiation. Like, these people are nutters, offering ridiculous prices, saying they're going to come by right now and pick it up, and it just, some of it, in fact, I know in my waters that some of it's all a scam. They're trying to rip me off. So, look, I'll let you know how the phone goes. I'm sitting here with my 2 bloody iPhone 15s, but the one that I am using with the higher amount of storage is fantastic. I absolutely love it. Fingers crossed I'll find the time to sell it. And before we start talking about tension, track by track, here's a bit of an incentive for you to rate this show. Rating this show with positive stars or reviews keeps it free. So I want to give you some motivation to do that. I'm giving away a red vinyl 2 Hearts single. You might know the one, the vinyl 2 Hearts red disc. I believe it's in good condition. I bought it a long time ago. It's still in the cardboard. And all you have to do to get an entry into that draw is send me proof that you've given this show a rating. Now, hand on heart, if you give this show a 1-star rating, like a terrible rating, that's okay. You'll still get an entry. Good or bad, you will get an entry into this draw. Go to whatever podcast platform you want, rate the show, and take a snap of the proof. Email it to me, timetotalkaustralia@outlook.com. If you leave a written review for this show, now that can be on one of the platforms like Apple or whatever, or there are websites where you can leave a written review and suggest certain podcasts. Even if you go to one of those and write a written review, you get 3 entries into the draw. YouTube is not included in this. So if you can rate the podcast, you will go into the draw. Now, we're drawing around Christmas time. I want to give lots of time for you to get out there and leave reviews. Why am I doing this? Look, truly, your reviews and ratings means that I can avoid monetizing this show, which is a difficult thing to do. I just don't like the idea of having the show infiltrated by commercials and advertisements, and they get to put them in wherever they want. So I'm trying to avoid that. Who knows, I might have to eventually do it at some stage, but I'm going to hold out for as long as possible, and that's where you come in. You can absolutely help. Okay, I hope you've had a great week. Why don't you take my hand? It's like a dream I had, and you're standing right here and now. Just imagine. Come on, let's walk into the fortress. Don't be scared. Coming to you from the mountain fortress of pop culture. You're listening to Time to Talk.
Artists seem to get in the way of the music. Get out of the way of the music.
Tension for me is much deeper, much more tender, and much more emotional than it probably appears to be on first listen. Yeah, I'll start again, Laura. How much have you been listening to Tension?
Quite a bit. I haven't got it on CD yet, but I obviously listen to it when I'm at work, naughty me, on YouTube, on the speakers, because I obviously work from home, so it gets me through the working day. And then at night time, I'll kind of stream it on the TV as well. I have some favorites, but it's good to see. I mean, this morning I heard that it hit the number 5 here in New Zealand on the album charts, which is fabulous for Kylie.
Wow, number 5, go New Zealand. And by the way, Laura's with us today, but there are so many people from New Zealand all of a sudden listening to the show, whereas it was a little bit of a black spot for us before, but all of a sudden you guys have spiked in the statistics. So welcome to all those New Zealand listeners. She still sounds as popular as ever. And what I noticed in New Zealand, Laura, is that she's doing the rounds in the media. I saw her on your project show, for example, plenty of radio shows too, I think. So she's, taking you guys seriously, as she should.
Mm. Yeah, because for a while there, we kind of didn't really have much promo. I mean, the only time she's toured here was for X, and I remember going to that. She had one show in Auckland. It sold out, and so they scheduled another show. So there were 2 shows, and it's like, oh my gosh, sellouts, and she never came back.
We've got a wicked delay, Laura, so forgive me talking over the top of you.
It's all good.
So number 5 in New Zealand, it's number 1 in Australia. What are you making of this? You've been listening to it for about a week now, and as have I. Well, I've been listening to it for a bit longer than a week. I might have had a preview copy. What do you make of it 1 week in? Where does it rank in Kylie's landscape?
I am the naughty girl as well. Put me in the naughty corner. I might have listened to some leaks a long time ago as well. And that doesn't make me a bad Kylie fan. I've been a fan since 1988. I have 3 rooms full of Kylie stuff. Everybody that's ever met me knows that I love Kylie. So yeah, it's definitely one of her best. And it's that return to that pure pop, the classic Kylie.
Can I share a theory with you, Laura?
Yes.
So over the past week, there have been quite a few fans, not a deluge, but quite a few fans have messaged me on audio message or text message, which, by the way, you can all do. timetotalkaustralia@outlook.com. Send me an audio message or send me a written message, either way. And a lot of fans are telling me that they feel a little bit detached from this album. And I've been interested in that. When it was 1 person or 2 people, I thought, okay, that might just be that this isn't the Kylie album for you, and that's okay. But it seems to be quite a handful. So I've come up with a theory, and I'm going to run it by you. I'd love to hear your thoughts.
Mm-hmm.
The theory that I've come up with is that because of the viral element of tension and in particular Padam Padam, when this album came out, unlike past albums like Disco or Golden, it hasn't been delivered to the relatively small group of us all around the world. It hasn't been like Kylie taking her cassette tape and putting it in each one of our hands and going, now listen, I'm not a global sensation, but you guys get me. Here it is, enjoy it, and we love it. And we loved Golden and we loved Disco. I feel that some fans are feeling like our Kylie is out on international loan at the moment. And so therefore, when they listen to Tension, it's not such an intimate experience. And I might be getting too deep here, but even when I listen to it, and I love the album, I know that this is not an intimate experience. This is big mass media, international, right? It doesn't feel like this is just between Kylie and I. She seems a little bit busy and distracted to give me her time at the moment. And I don't mind that, but I think some fans are maybe getting that subconsciously. What do you think of that very overcooked theory of mine, Laura?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, probably the biggest thing for me when, having been a fan for so many years, and people sort of liking Kylie at the beginning, and then it was uncool to like her. Then it was like, when we came back to Fever, it was like, yeah, it's cool to like Kylie again. Can't get it out of my head. And then it was, she went down again in some people's eyes and stuff, like the general public. Well, that's what it felt like to me. I kind of think with this album though, I I love it. I like how people are like soaking up Kylie, because it's like, finally, she's been around for ages. How do you not know about her? I mean, noticing all the YouTube reactions, and especially from Americans, it's like, guys, she's been around for years, and I'm always commenting on
Yeah.
the posts going, they're like, oh, who is this, lady, and I'm like, oh my God, she's been around for like 30 something years. She's an absolute icon. You need to review some more of her work. Um, and it kind of excites me a little bit, because I'm like, finally, people are starting to recognize her, but I just feel personally like it's a little bit too late, because she's had amazing hits, and it's like, oh my God, why have we waited till like now? She's like 55. Not that age has anything to do with it, but it's like, she's been around for so long. Why has it taken this long to kind of um recognize her? And I wonder if it is the promo, because I have personally felt like the last few albums, etc., especially here, being here in New Zealand, there hasn't been the promo, and you just don't hear about her. Like, there's no, you go to record shops or whatever, the very few that there are left, and there's not much around magazines, etc., TVs and stuff. She's not there like she is like in Europe, etc. And I get that that's her big fan base, etc. But I think with Padam Padam, especially, there's been a lot more sort of promo, like the American TV shows, etc. And that's kind of helped get that song out there and become viral, and obviously TikTok. But yeah, it's, for me, I think it's probably, I enjoy it. I enjoy the fact that more people are hearing about Kylie, because I can only think it's going to increase that fan base, and yeah, make her even more of an icon than what she is currently.
It is quizzical for people like you and I to go, oh, wow, you've discovered Kylie Minogue. Well, and the other thing that bothers me, Laura, is this, you'll see it 1,000 times, because the promo is everywhere at the moment, and so many of the media outlets are using that very stale old line, come back queen, come back princess, come back, come back, come back. She has never gone away in all the years since 1988 or 1987. She's never gone away. She's never had many years between. Even when she got cancer, she really wasn't away for that long. It's absolutely amazing that and quizzical that some people are discovering her. But as you say, it's a wonderful thing. But I do feel that many of us subconsciously or have an awareness that she is on international loan at the moment. Hey, let's talk about Tension now that we've had some time to be listening to it. Even Padam Padam, track 1, for me, feels a little bit different when you're listening to it, knowing that it's out there in the world as part of an album. I don't know why, it just does. I've got a strange brain, I think. So when I listen to the whole album, Padam Padam sounds a bit different. What are your standouts straight off the bat, Laura, from the album Tension? What are your go-to tracks so far?
Oh my gosh, I've got a few. Probably my favorite is obviously on the bonus album, and that is Somebody to Love. There's something about it, the lyrics, the musical arrangement, just the whole throughout is great. That's probably my favorite track. Vegas High, because I've been to Vegas, it totally reminds me of Vegas. That fun, do naughty stuff, what have you. No one's going to know about it. So that is great. Obviously Padam Padam and Tension. One More Time, because it's classic Kylie pop. There's just so many. Yeah, there's only probably a few that I just feel don't sit on the album.
Tension for me is much deeper much more tender, and much more emotional than it probably appears to be on first listen. The more you listen to it, I think that it starts to sink in that this has got some great emotional depth to it. But I still contend that those people, those new fans that you and I just spoke about, who are searching for more of that padam, they might be let down by this album. However, on the other hand, the uninitiated Kylie fans, as I'm calling them, they may go searching for more Padam. There's no question they're going to buy attention, searching and hoping for more Padam. But then they might be pleasantly surprised that they've stumbled across what we know to be true Kylie gems. Because have a think about these, Laura. You Still Get Me High, The Things We Do for Love, Just Imagine. They're all tracks that Kylie adores. They're full of melancholy, they're full of affirmation, and as us true Kylie fans know, they are truly little insights into her, because who is Kylie? She's joy, she's hope, she's acceptance, which is actually layered on a foundation of despair. That's how I interpret Kylie, and those songs represent her. What do you reckon this new batch of fans is going to make of the album Tension?
Yeah, it's kind of hard, isn't it? Because for me, I would love the next single to be Vegas High, something catchy to follow up, Tension and Padam Padam. And I know some people are like, "Oh, what about Hands?" But for me, it doesn't fit. It's very 90s American R&B, and I want Kylie to be out there. I want people to be aware of her, and I just think if they listen to some other kind of songs, they'd go, "What? This doesn't." Yeah, they wouldn't get her, because Padam's been it's like that, Can't Get Out of My Head was it's a huge song, but you've got to know Kylie to understand her songs, and yeah, I think this album, if you listen to the lyrics, there is a lot of emotional. I think it's written from the heart and a lot of personal experiences, especially track side A.
Yeah. The next single is pretty critical. I'll tell you what, the chart success so far is phenomenal. Although I'm just going to point out, and no, I'm not having a go, and I'm not even going to name the fan that I've been talking to who is telling the world that Tension's already up to 100 million streams on Spotify, because that's very misleading. What they've done there, Laura, is take the 77 million streams of Padam, added the 8 to 9 million streams of Tension, the song, and then they've added 10 out of 10, and then maybe the hundreds of thousands accumulatively of the rest of the tracks. And so there's this piece of information shredding through the Kylie forums at the moment that it's already up to 100 million streams on Spotify. Look, you could interpret that way, I suppose, but I really think that's not accurate. However, it doesn't diminish that it's been a huge success. It's number one in England, where it has sold 53,000 units. And just listen to these updates. Number one on the Scottish album charts, number one on the Australian ARIA charts, and then number two in Ireland, number three on the Dutch album charts. France, always loved Kylie there. Number 5, Germany, number 5. It's 13 in Italy, Sweden, our favourite, 19, and Japan. Remember Japan? She was so successful there with I Should Be So Lucky, and her first 2 albums there. She was enormous in Japan. She released special singles over there, which at the time I really wanted to get my hands on. Yeah, so she's doing really well in Japan and all over the world. We're getting similar chart positions. And in it, I should have looked it up before this. I can't quite remember what it is, but she is actually on the US charts at the moment with the album Tension. So no doubt this is a monster hit.
I think the latest, I mean, just following the forums, and I don't know how accurate it is, and I did see that 100 million streams too, and I was like, really? Wow. But I think they said something about she's going to potentially hit the top 20. I would die if Kylie. I mean, she's just never broken into the American market like we've wanted her to. But hey, I wouldn't want them to steal her.
Yeah, we've had quite a few fans saying, yeah, we don't begrudge her some American success, but don't leave us, Kylie, don't leave us. It's not going to happen. I wouldn't worry about it. Hold on to Now. What do you make of that track?
Yeah, it's for me. It's got that X reference again. I love it. The build up, the chorus, absolute perfection. It's classic pop for me. I like it. It was good to sort of see it performed live. But yeah, it's a favorite for me. I have highlighted it as one of my favorites on the song. But yeah, the build up chorus, perfection.
All right, fans, don't shoot me, but I have tried very hard to fall in love with Hold On to Now. I don't understand. I'm baffled by why it's track 2 on the album, and I just can't vibe with her high notes in this. I don't think they're produced very well. I know it's a fan favourite. A lot of people are campaigning for it to be single number or the next single 3. And I respect that people like it, but I don't like those high notes. I think it makes her sound a little bit off, actually. I've tried. I really have. I promise you. I've listened to it like a billion times and not doing it for me. The Things We Do for Love is a very Golden-esque track to me, Laura. And again, I didn't gel immediately with those Golden tracks, but this is a beautiful song. It gets straight to the point, and the lyrics are just lovely.
Yeah, and I think for me, what's made me, the more I've listened to it, the more I've kind of gone, yeah, I really like that. It's again, it's classic Kylie, good musical arrangement. Reference to the X again. I'm sorry, I keep saying that, but if you listen to those lyrics, it's kind of. But I think what sold it for me is the visualizer on YouTube.
Yes.
Love it. Yeah, just Kylie in her sparkly little jumpsuit there. Yeah, great. It's a good song. It's very catchy and one of the ones that I do replay quite a bit.
I love the fact that they're doing non-typical things to promote this album too. I don't know if you've noticed that. They're not following the usual formula. When they released every track with a visualizer, and apologies everyone for my voice, I'm starting to lose it, but I was absolutely thrilled with the visualizers. I never expected it, and they do make all the difference, don't they?
Yeah, because they did originally release. I know she uploaded sort of as soon as the album went live over here in New Zealand on YouTube. There was the sort of the tracks that were sort of uploaded with just the tension cover, and then it was. I think I was just playing one day on YouTube, and I was like, "Hang on, is that a new Kylie video?" Like, especially that you used to get me high. And then it was like I saw on Facebook, oh, we've released some visualizers, and I was like, oh, this is a bit interesting, and then the lyric videos as well. So, yeah, I agree with you. It's obviously a different marketing scheme.
Have I still got you, Laura?
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
No, that's all
Sorry,
right.
might have dropped out a little bit there.
No, we're battling away with the 10-second delay. That's okay though. That's okay. She's had quite a hand in writing a lot of these tracks too, which is, and I swear the lessons she learnt from Golden in terms of writing, because she spoke a lot about that. She said she learnt a lot about storytelling in the writing of music when she went over to Nashville, for example, and for that album as a whole. She had a hand in writing The Things We Do for Love. She also had a hand in writing Tension. And as we all know, this was the famous Airbnb story, which really bothers me because when you and I think of staying in an Airbnb, it's a one bedroom with a mini bar fridge and you lock the door in case you're, going to be stabbed in the middle of the night. That was no Airbnb. She was staying in a luxury resort. If you've seen the behind the scenes, ridiculous Airbnb, my foot. Luxury celebrity Airbnb at best. Tension, the actual song, I'm obsessed. I think it's one of the best songs she's released.
It is. It's extremely catchy. The video didn't do it for me. But listening, I think a few listens, I kind of got into Tension. it didn't do it for me on the first listen. I was kind of like, oh yeah, okay, where is this going from, like padam padam. But now it's kind of like, oh yeah, it's definitely got a hook to it, very catchy. I'm just still trying to work out the video. For me, that I just can't work it out. But yeah, it's definitely a strong song. Tension, definitely one of the top ones that I've highlighted as a top track on this album.
One more time, you've already mentioned Laura, and it is classic Kylie. For me, I know, and I mean this in the most beautiful
Mhm.
way possible. It's a classic Kylie album track, not filler, but it's a classic Kylie album track. It might be like "Always Find the Time" or "Live and Learn" on "Let's Get to It." It's a great track, but not single worthy, but one that you would expect to find on a Kylie album.
Yeah, yeah, I agree with you there. It's definitely classic Kylie. Again, lyrics referring to going back to an ex. I'm like, what's the theme here? Um, but the musical arrangement throughout it, for me, is just yeah, it's that the intro, the verse, the build up, chorus, breakdown, drop, outro, perfection. Good. It's a good song. I wouldn't say it's in a single release, but definitely if you're a true Kylie fan, that's going to be one of the top ones up there for people. Definitely for me.
You Still Get Me High is I have a strange relationship with it because, again, I'm so repetitive. When I first heard it, all the tracks that reminded me of Golden, I wasn't a huge fan of. But this is the one that I wake up in the morning and it's going around in my head. It must have the earworm factor about it. And again, the visualizer put it over the edge for me too. This is actually a potential single. Hear me out on that, Laura, because it's not an obvious one at first, but towards the end of an album campaign, she'll sometimes release something a little bit less likely to be commercially successful. She's done that over the years, just towards the end in the dying moments of an album campaign. And this has got some authenticity about it with the lyrics and um, as I say, it's Kylie giving insight into who she is. These are her affirmations that she truly believes in. And if you listen to the lyrics, I think You Still Get Me High has potential to be a single somewhere down the track.
Yeah, it's definitely it's got some great lyrics. I think the best part of the musical arrangement for me is the build up and then the chorus. And it is like you say that earworm. You still get me. And then obviously she gets into her vocal range, but the visualizer for me also sold it because it's a little bit different to the
Mm.
others. It's sort of, to me, it's a little bit more of a music video than a kind of visualizer, because it's the rest kind of like have the lyrics or Kylie's like in the background and it's a bit of color and stuff, but that to me is a bit more. And I wonder if you're right there around whether that's going to be a single release in future, just how it's been currently, yeah, with that recording of that video, just a little bit different to the others. It kind of stands out a little bit more.
You're listening to the Time to Talk show with me, Tim, and I have Laura with me. And just a reminder, in case you're wondering why we're not doing what normal people do in conversation and sort of talking over the top of each other just a little bit, we can't because there's a 10-second delay. So we've got to let the other talk and finish before we jump in. So you might be noticing that in this conversation, but it's still flowing. Then we flip the vinyl now, Laura, to side B. And we put the needle on it, and we go to Hands. Now, a lot of fans are saying this is one that Kylie had no hand in writing. Oh, there you go. That was good of me. She had no hands in writing this, but it's a lot of fans are saying they can't even hear her on this track. She's spoken about it in interviews and she's talking about if it's really rapping or not rapping. She said when she recorded it, it could have gone one way or the other. It could have been disaster, in which case it would have went in the waste paper basket. But it's made the album. I'm obsessed. I love Hands. I don't think it's getting universal praise, though. I think it's getting mixed reactions from the fan community.
Yeah, it's interesting. Yeah, maybe I need to listen to it a little bit more. But I mean, my notes on it is I'm not sure if it fits on the album. To me, it's not classic pop Kylie.
Mm.
It's kind of it gives me American R&B vibes of the 90s, and agree with what you were saying earlier about the first part. I was like, who is that singing? That doesn't sound like Kylie. I was like, is she just trying to try a different sort of um, vocal arrangement there or an accent? What she's trying to do? And then I was like, that's not actually her. Who is that? Is this a song featuring Kylie, like the 10 out of 10? But it's not one for me. But maybe I just need to listen to a little bit more. I haven't actually listened to it much, so yeah.
Oh, 7-2 boy, call me up. Wanna know what's up? Yeah, it's very unusual for Kylie to be singing like this, almost, I don't know, mini gangster. It's quite cute though. I think it's just got it's a great pop melody, and ultimately, I would say that's why it made the album. Like at the end of the day, is the song pop worthy, and boy is it. And I love its positioning with Green Light. I think I said that in the last podcast. These two live together. And just for the record, I've finally mastered the lyrics to Green Light. I might not have them all right, but I think I do, and I will forever keep them in my version, I've got to say. Green Light, surely, Laura, surely you have to love Green Light.
Oh my God. People are probably going to be listening going, what is wrong with her? It's kind of another one. It's catchy. The saxophone, I just again not sure if it fits on the album. Like it
Oh, the
does definitely follow
saxophone by
hands.
Kenny G.
It's I mean just I know like Hands, I haven't listened to it much. So that's probably the reason why it hasn't really caught on to me, because I've obviously listened to Badum Badum and all the rest sort of just crazy. But these two, Green Light and Hands, not as much. But on the first few listens, Green Light is definitely catchy. The saxophone, it's kind of, yeah,
Oh dear.
it's definitely different to side A.
Yes, it is, isn't it? And I've heard quite a number of fans say or write to me that Green Light should have been a B side. It sounds like a B side to them, which I think is rather harsh. Now we move.
I would have to agree, though.
Go ahead.
It is
Sorry.
probably a B side. I was just saying that I would have to agree it would be a B side for me. I would have probably replaced it and maybe put it onto the bonus track, and replaced it with a couple of other songs on the bonus tracks.
How interesting, though, that the two songs that you're not too sure about or that you think are misplaced on the album are both ones that she hasn't had a hand in writing. That's really interesting because she did not write Green Light either. One she did contribute to, though, was Vegas High. You've already put it down there. You've already thrown it out, Laura. You want this to be the next single.
Yeah, I think with the Vegas concerts that she's going to be doing, I think that would totally work in with that promotional marketing. And it's kind of got that club vibe. It's the outro of the song is perfection. And what I really love about this song is not only towards the end, is the year that she does in between, after the first chorus. She goes, yeah, it's very cool. I just, it's a good song. Pop
Yeah, look,
perfection.
it's not my favorite, but I can see why it is one of the most commercial songs on the album. I can see why it's a very clear pick for single 3. It's very, very commercial. It seems radio friendly to me. It feels of its time. But most importantly, and most obviously, it's going to come out, if she chooses to release it, right on the cusp of these Vegas shows, which they're going to go for maximum publicity when she starts those as well, because this is not a residency that will end. It's going to go on for years and years. So the more buzz, the better. So this just fits like a beautiful jigsaw puzzle piece. 10 out of 10. It's a great track. A lot of people hate it. But if you were one of the new fans picking up the album, I believe this would be one of the tracks that you'd think were pretty good if you were looking for that sort of, current vibe that Padam and Tension seem to have. What are your thoughts on 10 out of 10? We've been living with this track forever.
Yeah, I would agree. I'm not sure why. I think I said before why you'd have a track that just features Kylie on the album. Maybe I would probably put it on a bonus. It definitely needs to be on the album, but I would have moved it to bonus track. But it's got that clubby vibe again with the padam padam tension Vegas high. It definitely has that, for me, that radio vibe to it as well. Even though it's kind of classic Kylie, it's not one of the favorites for me on this album.
With Kylie, I've got a little basket over here to my left, and certain songs go into that basket. So I'm thinking Other Boys. I'm thinking this 10 out of 10. I'm thinking the Giorgio Moroder tracks. Now, it's not a waste paper basket, people. I'm not saying it's trash. I'm saying there are little collaborations, little experimental things she does off to the side that they sit in that basket there. It's a beautiful basket. It's got a great ribbon on it. It's a prized basket. It's a cherished basket. By the way, Laura, can you tell I'm agitated? Because fans get right up me no matter what comes out of my mouth. So I'm making it really clear. I'm not saying things in the basket are bad. They're not bad. They're good. Good basket, good. Good basket. Laura, is it clear that the basket's good?
It's very clear. Yep, the basket's good. It's got a great ribbon. It's a gold ribbon. It's big. Yep, perfect.
Excellent. The final track of the standard album is Story. She loves this, doesn't she? And we're recording this at the time where she's just sung it live for the first time. And I think a little bit like No More Rain, I imagine she had visualized performing this live, well, even while she was writing it, probably. And now that she has, I think it really got to her that she was just so looking forward to saying to her fans, "You're part of my story." She cried, and it's made some headlines around the world that she cried on stage. Well done, media, for making a mountain out of a molehill. But any attention at the moment is good. Story. Do you love this one?
It's not one of my favorites, but again, I haven't listened to it like some of the others, so I need to listen to it, I think, a little bit more to get it. I did watch the Shepherd's Bush, it was Shepherd's Bush, wasn't it, performance, and I thought an interesting song to sing live because there's a bit of vocal range that she needs in it, and she hit them perfectly, which was, of course, why wouldn't Kylie? To me, probably the best part of the song is the build up and the chorus. It's definitely an interesting song, but I didn't know she cried. I didn't know she got a little bit upset, so that's kind of really gorgeous. I think that's lovely because the big thing with Kylie for me is she's very appreciative of her fans, and she knows she's not very dismissive of them. She knows that her fans have been there with her, and she's different to a lot of other artists because she's got a true fan calling there, where there've been fans right from the beginning that have followed her and stayed with her. They've never really dropped off, and I think she knows that, and so yeah, every time she kind of puts an album out, I know that she's put her heart and soul into it because she wants to do the best for her fans and not just the public. I think predominantly it is for the fans, and so she's very appreciative of that. And so I think that's beautiful that she got a little bit upset because there is that quite close relationship with her true fans, and there is that story. We've followed Kylie. I mean, I've grown up with Kylie since I was 12. Every album for me has been a part of my life, and if I listen to those songs, I'll be like, I can go straight back in time and know exactly what happened. And yeah, I kind of, as I said, grew up with Kylie from the age of 12. I'm now 45. I mean, a lot of people say to me, "Oh, you're still a fan of Kylie?" Like, really? And I'm like, hell yeah.
She's part of my
I bloody
story.
love her. She's been there through it all. Yes, she is part of my story, and she is she is who I am. That's one thing people know me for is they're like, oh my God, like they'll ring me up. Do you know Kylie's going to be on TV? You know, Kylie's on the latest magazine at the shop, or heard Kylie on the radio and the thought of you. So I think that's great. But yeah, that's one thing with Kylie is that whole story. And that's, I think, where that song comes from is, we've been there right through everything, and we've stuck with her through thick and thin, and I don't think there are many artists out there that can say the same. Yeah.
How interesting that you and I have just, by talking this through, nailed the fact that Story is the track on this album that was for us. Whether or not it was originally intended to be or not, it absolutely is the story of the relationship between Kylie and her fans. I've said this so many times over the years, even when she was young, she is one of the most emotionally intelligent people I've ever come across. I don't know if you watch her in interviews when she's interacting with people. She is so attuned to the way other people are responding and feeling, which is completely at odds with the typical celebrity who is all about looking inwards, about themselves. And that's almost a trait you need to have to be successful in the celebrity world. Kylie's never had it. She's succeeded despite that. She's always looking at others. She's always more curious about those around her. She's much more fascinated in knowing about the people in the room than talking about herself. And with Story, it's the story, it's the shared story between us and her. And by the way, Kylie, if you or any of your people are listening, and I've been told that that happens on occasion, don't think for a moment that I haven't seen the nods, and many of us have seen the nods you're giving us at this point. Going back to what I said earlier about some fans feeling like she's out on loan at the moment, she's mentioned in plenty of those interviews. She's very subtle, but she's nodding to us. She's going, yep, I remember you're still there. I haven't forgotten you. I'm busy at the moment, but I know you're still there. And it makes me well up. Like just what you said, she's family and a very important part of my family. Don't know how we got so off track there and so deep, but Story is clearly welling some stuff up for you and I, Laura. Let's move into something more frivolous, shall we, before I get all deep and need to have a scotch. Love Train. Love Train is that quirky song. I adore it. And she did have a hand in writing Love Train. Did you originally think it was the rhythm of Love Train that she performed live?
Yes, it does give me kind of like light years vibes as well. Um, it is quite a catchy song. I can understand why it's been put on the bonus, and not on the main album. Um, but it is very much,
You're
it does
so
give
polite,
me
Laura.
vibes
Sorry to
from
interrupt
other
with the overlap,
albums, and
but
one of
you
them
are
came up with Light Years.
so polite saying, I like it. I can see why it's a deluxe added bonus track. I love that. So polite.
I know I can't say that I hate any Kylie song, because anything Kylie puts out, I'm so
What about Go
appreciative.
Hard
I'm
or Go
like,
Home?
oh, it helps me get through my day. I mean, yeah, it's all right. It's not a favorite,
You're so
but
polite.
I will listen to it.
All aboard the love train. I can put you on a track to the moon in the fast lane. Funny old lyrics here, but lots of little classic Kylie screeches that get me through it. Like there's a little bit of a toot toot from that golden version of Locomotion she did in this for me. Just a little hint. Kooky to say the least. Now, Just Imagine is one that's really
Mm.
grown on me. I'm trying desperately to learn the words. I can pick Just Imagine every time Just Imagine comes up. I know that part. Now, Karen Poole wrote this. Karen Poole, who's a friend of Kylie, really, and co-collaborator, and has written so many classic Kylie hits, including Wow, and we could go on all day. Do you like Just Imagine?
Not one of my favorites. It does give me PWL vibes.
Oh,
like 80s Kylie. Um, the build up and chorus is fabulous. But I'm the same as you. Like, I actually probably need to Google the lyrics because I'm trying to work out what she's singing. All I can get is just imagine. Um, I can't work out the rest. So, which is interesting for me because normally I can listen to a Kylie song like once and I'll get the lyrics straight away. But this one, I'm like, I can't understand what she's singing. So
well, I
it's
think the
definitely
song
different
is.
for me. One of the first probably Kylie songs that I'm like, oh, I don't actually know what she's singing.
I think the lyrics, Laura, are all around. She's seeing the person she wants to be with, which is actually classic Kylie. It was all about unrequited love back in the PWL days. And I think this is it. She's visualizing, just imagine if you and I were together. But there is a lyric in there, and someone please let me know. It's something like, my heart beats out of my hands. And I don't know, is that a clunky way of trying to say she can't control her heartbeat? It's out of my hands? Or is she literally saying my heart is beating out of my hands? Because it makes me feel a bit sick, and I look at my veins bulging out of my wrists, and it makes me feel sick. So someone needs to correct me on that. Laura, I've got a strange brain. I'm sorry.
No, that is it. That's an interesting lyric. So, yeah, I would love to know if anyone could kind of break that down as to what they think that sort of means. Because I have no clue.
Somebody to Love, you've already said, is one of your standouts.
I love it. I love it because it's yeah, the whole thing from the moment it starts right to the end, there's not a part of it I don't like. It's a great song, the musical arrangement, just everything about it. It's the standout for me on the
It's
whole
very
album.
heavenly. The production of it is very heavenly. I've got to say, yeah, it's a beautiful song, a lovely way to finish off the album too. Now, there's these. I don't know if we were able to talk about them. I've heard them both, Heavenly Body and Drum, which are annoyingly on the. I think it's the 962nd version of Tension. Feature these two songs. You can have them autographed on cassette, not autographed on vinyl. You can have them in purple. You can have them in pink. You can have them sparkle dust. You can have them delivered via courier or delivered by pigeon. There are a billion versions of Tension. On one of those versions, you can find Heavenly Body and Drum, if you're willing to pay the price, of course. Have you heard either of these tracks, Laura?
I haven't heard Drum, but I have heard Heavenly
What do you
Body,
make of it?
and I think it's pure pop perfection. As I said, I haven't heard Drum, but um, I do like Heavenly Body.
I find it interesting that even if you bought the standard edition and then had the additional deluxe tracks and the bonus deluxe tracks of Heavenly Body and Drum, and you sat down, with your pipe and cigar, as you do in New Zealand, and your robe, the whole album is only a little over 53 minutes.
Yeah, it's quite short, isn't it, really, for an album? Which is interesting. But I think that's the way that the music is going today. Like people just don't want long songs. It's just short and sweet, in and out, done.
The one thing that stands out to me about this album, though, is when you look at it or listen to it with um, with the ear of how will this translate live into the Tension tour for TT. Um, this is made for live. The whole album, isn't it? I could actually, when Madonna used to go on tour, she was very well known for doing practically every bloody track off the new album. And sometimes that was annoying because not every track off the album was a banger. I reckon Kylie on the Tension tour, honestly, in fact, I don't think there's any tracks on here on any of the editions that she couldn't perform live, with a great deal of respect and dignity. I think they all qualify for a live outing on the Tension tour.
Yeah, agree. It'll be interesting to see what the set list is for Vegas, um, because I know the recent sort of shows that she's done. She's gone back to a lot of the familiar favourites and that sort of thing, and the dreaded the kids that people don't tend to like. Um, but yeah, I think I think she could definitely, like you say, sing all these songs and it would be a fabulous concert. And I kind of hope that she does it in Vegas. Although, you know, gosh, I wish I was going. You would expect the odd Kylie, favorites to come out here and there that have been throughout the decades.
Super Minogue fans like you and I, we're going to have to be very tolerant this era. There's no question in my mind that all the tracks that we've been begging to be given a rest are not going to be given a rest. I mean, why would she? She's needs to preach to the newly converted, to the uninitiated. So she is going to be pulling out. My God, Love at First Sight. Honestly, if I hear that song one more time, I think I might throw up. And Kids, although she has given that a rest for a little while, but certainly Spinning Around and, even Can't Get You Out of My Head, which is her biggest song of all time. I'd be putting my hand up for, you can rest it. But the fact is, we're going to have to be tolerant. She's not resting any of them. Not now. They're all coming out of the woodwork. All the favourites, the big ones, the ones that she thought should have been hits, like Breathe. She's always a little bit obsessed by giving Breathe a run, I've noticed. They're all going to come back. So let's be tolerant and let's look at the person in the audience who's never heard it before and go, yeah, it's good, isn't it? How dare you not have picked up on that before? So, yeah, let's be tolerant, Laura.
Agree.
Have you got any predictions for Tension?
Yeah, I think it was interesting because like disco was around COVID and stuff, which is what we needed to kind of keep everyone's sort of spirits high and that sort of thing. And she couldn't really do much with it around promo and tour and stuff because of COVID, which was a shame. But I think with Tension, I think as long as that marketing's out there, I'm seeing Kylie a lot more on magazine covers that I haven't seen her over here for years. Just different TV appearances, that sort of thing, and keeping people in, knowing of Kylie, keeping her in their heads is going to ensure that this album has that longevity. But it's got to be a good marketing campaign and not just for the fans, because I love the kind of the extra colors and the different things of the vinyl albums, but give me a little bit more. So what's going to make me buy that album, that particular thing you're going to put out there around Kylie? So maybe Attention B-sides, I don't know, something to kind of keep it going. But it's definitely for me going to be the promos, the TV appearances, the magazine covers, just keeping people in their heads of Kylie is going to make this album, continue and have that longevity.
It's certainly going to have some longevity, as you say, Laura. It's so great talking to another superfan because nobody else cares. Nobody else cares. No one wants to talk to me like this, but Laura does. My friend in New Zealand does. Thanks, Laura. It's been really fun having a chat with you about Tension, and I think we've got lots of new surprises and things in store for us that we can't predict. I think that they're going to go all out and do the unexpected here, and they already have. So it's an exciting time to be a Kylie fan, right?
Absolutely. Yeah, it's amazing. And I'm so glad for this era and yeah, enjoying every minute of it. It's great. And thank you so much for having me on your show.
Isn't Laura fantastic? Thank you again, Laura. I'm so glad that you are enjoying Tension as much as the rest of us are. Now, don't forget about that competition. Rate the show and you could win the Two Hearts Red vinyl. It could be yours. And listen, I have absolutely loved spending some time with you. Sincerely. The age of the pop megastar might be fading, but you and I can keep talking. I love it every time we meet and we get the chance to have a chat. You take care of yourself. Until next time.